This is the Superstar Diaries podcast.
Welcome to episode number 2 of Superstar Diaries. We have our first guest ever on the show, Jake Salazar, who is a superstar and a Denver legend in all of itself.
Yeah, you're definitely a superstar in your world.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Well, I guess for everybody that it's listening, Jake is also our partner in this venture. He hosts another podcast in Colorado called I'm From Denver.
Yep.
And, you know, has helped us bring this vision to life. So we appreciate him. Thank you very much for doing that.
Appreciate you guys. Wiggs over there obviously helps do a lot of it as well.
He's on the show every week. He's over there. I don't know
We
if
get to
have
give
a
him
camera
a shine every single week. So. Today's your shine.
I don't know if we have a camera
right.
on him, but he's looking great in his R2-D2 tracksuit today.
Yeah,
so
he is
joined the club.
definitely shining over there, man.
How to keep up.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, Denver native, Colorado native. Been in Denver for a long time. Just always kind of been around here. I've been doing business in Colorado since I went to UNC. I played baseball at UNC, University of Northern Colorado. That's not UNC Carolina.
Tar Heels.
I'm not a Tar Heel. I'm a Bear. Played ball up there. Graduated from there. Part-time. I actually left school a little bit early to start my first company, which was a Benihana's franchise.
Oh, nice. Brad loves Benihana's.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, literally.
One of my favorites, Steve Aoki. Steve Aoki's dad.
Yeah.
Did you ever meet him?
I did. I've met Steve multiple times. I met Rocky. I've met his sister, Devon. I know his
supermodel?
and the actress from Fast and the Furious Part 2 and all that.
Did they still own Benihana, Steve Aoki?
Kevin Aoki does, the older brother.
Okay, cool.
So Kevin Aoki, and they've opened multiple different restaurants now. They've been Kevin kind of grew up in the business. Steve obviously is world famous for what you guys do in the music industry. But Kevin, his older brother, stayed in the industry, and that's actually who we sold the franchise back to was Kevin.
Did you ever cook and catch the egg in your hat?
Yeah. I have done all the things. Yeah.
Why do you love Benihana's?
Oh, I just think it tastes good.
The fried rice, man.
Yeah, the fried rice is the best.
Yeah.
I mean, we would even go to like the fancier version of the Benihana's and like the Win because Brad loved that. I forget what that were.
The hibachi, yeah.
Yeah. And like on a cruise ship, that would be the first, all-inclusive resort, would be the first reservation Brad would make on tour every time. Like
Every single time.
There's a hibachi or whatever they call it place.
Like, you can't screw that up with the sesame seed oil, ginger sauce. Like,
Oh, I mean, and those chefs, they know their stuff. I mean, there's certain parts of the table that are hotter than the others. I mean, it's all orchestrated. The chicken takes longer to cook than the steaks and all that stuff. So they know what they're doing.
where did we really start crossing paths? Was it at the
What
church?
year?
Well, I mean, we started crossing paths. I'd say back when you were with Regis at Vinyl and Church. I knew who you were. I was coming in there a lot. I think that was back in the days where I was like in college, coming down to party on the weekends and then go back up.
Like, who was your favorite DJ back then, or like what were you going to see?
Oh man, we were just going to see everything, and whatever we could afford to get in, or if we knew a door guy that would let us in, we were broke back then.
So you're trying to be Brad's friend to get on the guest list.
I was trying to be everybody's friend back then. It was like that was like that. We're like, all right, man, I've got $200, $100 for the door guy and $100 for drinks when we get inside, and that was it.
That's a lot, bro. You were rich back then. I didn't have $100 to go out.
Super VIP for us.
Well, that was after I started making a little bit of coin. But man, back
There was
in
no tables, right? Like there was no tables back then.
Yeah, no, it was. You went up and
it was a plastic cup and a Red. Did they even have Red Bull?
No. It was before that.
Pre-Red Bull.
Yeah.
No,
It was like Sammy T was like one of the bartenders back then.
He was one of our
Yeah.
main thieves.
I was like, that's where we would go for like all the free shots, man.
Yeah.
But we would have a couple. When Vinyl fell down and we reopened it, we put a couple VIP tables in.
On the roof, right?
On the side, right?
And then Regis put that balcony on the church.
Yeah.
That was, I think, still
they were
standing.
like
that had a
in
couple
the
of
wall of the VIP tables, weren't they? Like behind the.
Yeah. But we never really killed it with VIP. We didn't start getting better with VIP till like kind of beta, and after that, where VIP became more of a big deal.
I remember one time getting in, like, Eminem had an after party there that everybody wanted to go to. Yeah, that was
Was it
pretty
a
wild.
Vinyl or the church?
It was a Vinyl.
Vinyl, yeah.
I remember. Yeah, so he played at Summit, which was right across the street from Beta.
Yeah.
Then this is. Remember, Mickey Finn had that Eminem demo tape. So we had like
Mickey Finn, the bald white dude.
Mickey Finn. No, he had long hair.
Okay.
He was a drum and bass DJ. But we had basically Eminem's first album. Probably 7 of the tracks were on this demo. Like My Name Is Slim Shady, and a couple of the singles weren't.
This is
on
way before he blew up.
Yeah, he was starting to
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was blowing up underground. Like he's playing Summit.
Like, it was like a line around the block to get in there, and we somehow snuck in. I don't know how we got in that.
And then he came to Vinyl afterwards, and we had that little elevated area.
Yeah.
So he was in the main room of Vinyl.
Yeah, he wasn't performing or anything.
I don't remember.
He was just like there drinking, and like
this
everybody.
was before Vinyl fell down too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is still Beatport time. Like I was around.
This was before.
This might have been before Beatport.
This was like
been like in
2001. 2001.
Okay, but I mean, I knew you. I just wasn't there then. Okay.
It was pre. And I still remember, like, I mean, Eminem was like sitting on a chair, like talking to a girl, and he was just like talking, and I was like, I think this guy's gonna be really famous. Like, like you could just see like his
the line around the block and people getting in fights to get in. Yeah, it was
his
crazy.
aura. And like I said, I knew all the songs because we were playing this mixtape over and over again.
Yeah.
My brother loved rap music, and so there wasn't much crossover between me and him. Like I liked EDM, he liked hip hop. We were doing all these rave stuff, and so this was kind of one of the first things that we were both like, "Oh, play Eminem, play Eminem."
Yeah, that was
there was a couple tracks that didn't make his album that we were listening to on like repeat. I think that was like maybe the last cassette I really even remember.
Yeah.
So other than the Eminem night, like, do you have any like shining memories of like early days when you first kind of met Brad going to the Church of Vinyl? Because obviously, like, that's one of the things we want to talk about is like people's experience in music.
I know we're trying to keep it more PG-13, but yeah, I do. I mean, obviously, for back then, and I was still playing ball at that time.
Yeah.
So I wasn't like doing, all the crazy after hour stuff that came a little bit later. But yeah, no, I mean, like I met Brad, and he was, at the time, even like for us, cause he was a little bit older, it was like, this is the guy, if you're like, he's the one that brings all these people in and you're like, oh, like hail to Brad, the God, wow, definitely that's a good guy to know. And it was, I mean, obviously none of us knew what he was doing behind the scenes, setting up Beatport with you and all the big things that were to come in the future. But it was no surprise when he actually started doing that. And it wasn't too long after that when all that really started blowing up for you guys.
Do you remember when Vinyl collapsed?
I do. It was a snowstorm. It was so I remember it. I wasn't there, obviously. It was closed, but I was.
Nobody was there, thank God. Yeah.
It was like, what are we going to do? I just like remember looking at it like, oh my God.
Did you never think it was going to open again? You thought it was over?
I didn't know.
It was pretty bad.
I remember seeing the street. I have a picture of it.
Yeah, I remember seeing all the pictures of it. I was like,
it was
wow.
literally halfway across.
I mean,
I was like, man, I'm glad I wasn't there that night.
Matt Carmichael had one of the best photos ever taken. It was like the sun, the moon or sun was coming through. It was a blizzard. Vinyl had collapsed. It was on the back of his. Remember, he had that magazine.
I think I have the photo.
Yeah, it's such a great photo. But I just remember like just kind of staring, like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, I have so many DJs booked. I'm going to have to do everything at the church.
At the church,
like,
at least you had a backup venue.
It was just a really like time that we never really forget.
That must have been so scary. I can't imagine
we
that.
had done we had done a Boy George party before that. And we had this like the top floor that really became the patio.
Yeah,
was really cool. It was like this. It was just a really
It was a
cool,
loft.
Yeah, it was like a loft.
It kind of looked.
And then we
it was. I remember it was because it had all the wood raft. I mean, it was an old Denver.
And it was really high ceilings.
Dreams their loft looks like.
And so we did.
Sweet.
We did Adam Freeland there on that Saturday. I think it was like James Zabilia or someone like that on the main floor.
Yeah, I fucking remember
and then
that.
I remember it was on a Tuesday because I was like, if this would have happened when people were here, like, how many people would have got hurt?
Oh my
Because you
God.
had just opened it before it collapsed, the roof, right?
No, we never really had. That was one of the very first events.
Yeah, so I mean, it was the first
that we
event
had done in that lofted area.
I remember Adam Freeland because he was big. He had that song out at that point.
Yeah, we were using it as a green room, and when we did Boy George, we used that as the green room. And I remember the news coming and doing an interview, and so like we were starting to get our head around like what we were going to do, how we were going to expand, because vinyl because it wasn't that big. We would do 2,000 people, but the floor plan was only 7,000 square feet each one, and so everyone wanted to be in the main floor. Then we were doing drum and bass in the basement. Then not many people would go into the second floor. Then we're like, oh well, we need to get people to go different places because if we're going to do 2,000 people, which we were starting to pack pretty regularly, like we need to spread them out. They all can't fit on the main room, and so that's when Regis was like kind of letting us mess around with doing other DJs and other floors, and like just did it, worked really well, and then literally.
But then the rooftop became an iconic place kind of by default. It was actually a pretty amazing.
It was
spot.
a big story, man. It was like that was like it was like the front page of the Rocky Mountain News back then, not even the Denver Post. Right?
And then Regis is like, "We're opening next week." Next month.
Everybody, get your shovels and your scaffolding out.
Like
we're clear the bricks from the road.
I mean, every day, like, we're opening in a month. We're opening. I was like, I think it was a year and a half.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was a hard problem.
Well, there was like, but to get to like what you were asking, like when we first actually like kind of started hanging out, was I had opened up, so I had sold the Benihanas, and I had done the Sotheby's real estate deal, but I had broken away from that, and I had started the Devonshire Company, the Devonshire Real Estate Group.
Oh, that's right.
And JJ Walker actually was going to get his real estate license and to hang it with my agency. And it was funny because JJ, it's like everybody went and got their real estate license back then, right? It was like that time before the collapse. It was like, man, it's all real estate. It's an easy way to make an extra $200,000 a year, and it really was. And so everybody went and got their license, and we were kind of like the young group. It was Dan Diaz and I that went and started that, and it started doing really well. We brought in a bunch of people, but JJ he'd be like studying for his real estate exam. But he was really booking parties and doing all that. He was helping you promote Beta. And he was like, hey, we'll introduce you to Brad. He's going to open up Beta. And so we came in. That's when we kind of first met, like really, and like on kind of
so
like
you didn't meet face to face,
like an equal level. Like I was kind of like talking.
Company. I was like, oh wow, this guy's like young to be in the real estate.
I was. Your mom was in real estate.
I was really young to be in the real estate. The older people hated me for sure, especially because I stole their name.
Big time real estate in Denver, so
I was like, Devonshire, that sounds important.
That's why I put it there.
How'd you come up with that name?
What's that?
Where did the name come from?
There was actually a lot of articles about this. So I didn't steal it technically. There was Coldwell Banker Devonshire was in Cherry Creek, and
it sounded important.
Well, so the quick version is Realogy is a big holding company for real estate brands. They own Sotheby's, they own Century 21, they own Coldwell Banker. So I knew of that because of the Sotheby's deal, and everybody automatically kicks 6%. I don't know how it works now, but back then, everybody kicked 6% off of every closing table up to Realogy. And so I was not interested in being a Realogy company, but I kind of wanted to stick it to them because they were not awesome. And so what I realized is like I was on a bottle of scotch one night sitting in my house, and I was checking out how they had registered Coldwell Banker Devonshire because I was actually going to call mine something else. And I realized right away that the Coldwell Banker people had not, by the way that the Colorado regulatory agencies need you to be set up to actually put yard signs in people's yards, they hadn't registered their LLC correctly. They didn't have their domain set correctly. And so I spent about $400 one night and literally just registered the Devonshire Company in my name, and it worked. And then I submitted an application to Coldwell Banker for a franchise. So I bought a $30,000 franchise. It was called Adobe. It was called Adobe Coldwell Banker, and I just bought that one and changed the name.
Yeah,
and it was like the only minority-owned Coldwell Banker in the metropolitan area. And so there was this lady that sold it, and so I bought it, submitted it, and 2 weeks later they were like, "Congratulations, you've been approved as a Coldwell Banker franchisee."
And you're like, "Great!"
And so I'm literally in a test drive, and I get a call. I don't know the number. Answer it, and it's this guy, and he's like, "Is this Jake Salazar?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's, "My name is Chris Magott. You know who I am?" And I'm like, "No, man." And he's like, "Hey, man, like I'm the president of NRT," and I'm like, awesome. What can I do for you? And he's like, we're the largest Coldwell Banker franchisee in like the state, in like this region. And I'm like, I still have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, I didn't even know that I got approved.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah. I'm like, awesome.
I was not about scotch. I was buying companies.
Yeah. I'm like, it's like, we're not going to allow you to take the Devonshire name. And I was like, I'm like, been waiting for this call. I was like, this is the guy apparently. And I'm like, well, I own it, so bye. And so like so he calls me back a couple days later, like his secretary calls, like sets up another phone call. He's like, I think we got off to on the wrong foot. I'd like to set up a meeting.
Yeah, because you realized you owned it after you called the lawyer.
I was like, yeah, man, calling and cussing at me probably isn't going to be the best idea. I'm just going to tell you to pound sand. So we go in there, and it's him and this other guy, and I mean, they got we roll in there wearing like pinstripe Armani stuff, like pink ties, like just we look like.
These guys clearly don't know what they're doing.
The guy you want to punch in the face, right? And these guys are even
good,
worse.
Probably good.
Yeah, no, but like we went sharp, man. We went in there looking like sharks, but these dudes showed up, and they were wearing like their
real estate suits.
No, they were wearing like the Dockers, and like they had like the like golf vest with the polo pulled out of it. And I'm like, oh, these guys, okay, that's what we're dealing with. And so I was like, all right, man. And they're like, well, there's been a lot of really famous real estate industries. There's been the Van Scocks and the blah, 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 blah. And we own those. We bought those names out. We'd like to offer you that. And I was like, well, yeah, but those were like 30 years ago, dude. Yeah. I'm like, I really like the Devonshire one because you guys have done a great job marketing it for me. So that's awesome. And they're like, well, we're not going to let you keep the Coldwell Banker. And I'm like, keep the fucking Coldwell Banker. I'm just the Devonshire Company. So I literally handed it back to them. I got my burn. What they didn't realize is we got amazing press out of that because we had this great reporter who apparently did not like those guys. The
Waspy Yacht Club?
Yeah. And so they were writing all these great articles for us, basically. It was great editorial. Yeah. And so I held my first big seminar, and I brought in this inspirational speaker guy, and it was at the Ritz. Right when the Ritz first reopened as having the residences there. And we actually got a contract to sell some of those residences. And in that ballroom right there, I held my first thing, and I invited all real estate agents that were tired of getting ripped off and having to kick too much up to the house to come and check out what I had to say. And man, it was packed. And I was like, man, I didn't prepare. I didn't really think this many people were going to show up. How
many people were there?
Some of the old ladies and stuff from the Devonshire Company actually showed up. And so what they didn't realize is we had actually, this was a dick move, but we had actually just sold our first house under the Devonshire Company, and it was a Devonshire Coldwell Banker listing. So when we went into the land title to actually do the closing, we popped all these champagne bottles, and it was like that was like in the paper, like Coldwell Banker Devonshire sells a home to Devonshire Company, and we're like popping bottles of Cristal.
You're talking in front of what, 300 people?
It was probably 150.
And you had just sold one house.
Yeah, and I'm like 25, 26 years old. And I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. But we had some people come in and guest speak and stuff, and we had a bunch of agents sign up. And it was actually really fun.
So you guys met then.
That was when we met, and he was doing his grand opening of Beta. And I had this James Bond chopper. It was all the women of James Bond on it. And he's like, you should drive that in. Right when we did
like a motorcycle,
like a big, it was a Texas chopper. Oh no, it was a Bourget.
So what's a chopper? What is it?
It's like a big rake chopper, like like one of those big motorcycles, okay, like a big one though, with like a big back tire.
Oh, I remember this actually.
Yeah, and it was like it had all the James Bond decals and it had all the women of James Bond painted on it. And so it was like, drive it in and start revving it up. And I'm like, it's going to be really loud in there, dude. And he's like, yeah, do it. I'm like, all right, let's go. And that was like the opening night of Beta. And then I'm pretty sure I was like a bottle service for like the next freaking 5 years in there.
Every week.
Yeah.
Where's Jake? Yeah. What do you mean he's not here? Is he dead? Call his mom.
What table was your table?
I mean, we were all over the place, and that was like when I met Dylan and all those and all that crew, and man, Dylan what a great guy. we had so much fun
Well, it
back
depends
then.
on who you ask.
Yeah,
You know
Dylan.
what I mean?
Yeah, hey man, I like Dylan.
I do too.
I like Dylan a lot. But yeah,
I like Dylan more than all of you guys, unfortunately.
Yeah, you guys are like best friends forever. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like no matter where we go, there's always like this halo of Dylan following us. And everybody's always like a mildly outrageous, like, huh? It's like almost, he's getting like to mythical status.
Brad was like, it was nice back. I don't know if I can say this now, probably, because you don't, well, like we used to get to hang out, you know, a little after hours sometimes.
Yeah.
And Brad would be like practicing on the ones and twos. And we would just be like hanging out still, man. Like everybody'd be out of the club and we'd just be in there and he'd be
Upstairs,
like,
downstairs.
Upstairs
Oh,
in
of
the,
course,
in the
yeah, I mean,
Beatport
upstairs
Lounge.
was-
yeah.
I mean, because, you know, Sean and I really, you know, we were first playing on just Ableton Live and then we were getting bigger and bigger. I didn't really know how to DJ at all.
That's what you said. Yeah.
And so I was like, I was always a promoter and, you know, was helping with the music concepts, but like the actual DJing, Sean's like, well, you got to know something.
Yeah.
And,
What if I get sick and die? You know what I mean? Like,
and so I was, you know, I was practicing probably there for like almost when we were in town, like every after hours, I was just kind of like practicing.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really want to practice. I was too busy during the day, and you know, we're always usually having fun at night. So if we were in town, and then you know, after a couple of years, I was like, we were barely even in town ever.
Yeah, well, it was funny because he was like, I don't know how to DJ. Like he'd be mixing something like, you guys like that? You guys like that? And we're like, it all sounds good, buddy. It's like 3 a.m. I'm like, everything sounds good right now, man.
that was such a fun room.
Possibly not the
upstairs
right guy to ask right now.
lounge. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it was all soundproofed, and
it was
dark,
great, man.
and,
It was
you know,
fun.
that was one of the things we did with Beta is we blocked off every window.
Yeah.
And really, because the sound systems were so big, I really worked hard on noise canceling. So I was like, I mean, the security and my manager were never really happy with me, but I was like, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
I'm having fun.
We were, well, and I don't think I would have gotten to do that if it wasn't for knowing Dylan, because you were like, Dylan, hang out, and whoever you're still hanging out with. And we're like, oh, I guess I'm still.
And that's it.
Still going. Yeah, you were like, that's it. Like there'd be like 5 of us.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. And it was funny because then all of a sudden it was like manufactured superstars. And it was like, whoa, dude. You went from like not knowing how to DJ to being a pretty big deal, man. Like,
Yeah, it happened pretty quick.
yeah.
So do you have any like monumental moments of Beta, like where like you had an epiphany with a DJ, or you met somebody that like inspired you, like a superstar, or like you had a one-on-one moment with one of the talent?
Yes.
PG-13 version. No,
Multiple times. I mean, obviously, you know, we were always feeling pretty good when we were in there for whatever reason. But I love David Guetta. I love David Guetta. And ironically, on my birthday.
I like how you almost said it on a first name basis. I love David. You know,
David loves me.
But that's what we try to bring here. with
Yeah,
Superstar
I
Diaries,
was like-
access to the people.
It was my birthday. So he ironically was actually, he came to town and my birthday was like that weekend. And I brought a whole crew of people in there. And Brad brought me down and I got to sit in the I mean, he brought me down multiple times to sit with multiple DJs.
Yeah.
But at that time I was, and I still am, I still love all of his music, especially back like The World Is Mine.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, because there was a while ago, right? What year did you have Guetta there?
I think that was 2012.
Yeah.
2011.
Guetta
still
quickly outgrew clubs everywhere. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, I mean, he doesn't really play clubs anywhere in the world anymore.
Dude, I was like, I love that music, man.
Yeah.
And it was like that, and Eric Prydz. Is it Prydz? Eric Prydz. I mean, all that stuff was going big back then, but I actually got to sit down. Brad brought me down to sit in the DJ. I had like a whole crew of people sitting up here, and I like me and my now wife and like one other person. Like we're down sitting in the DJ booth. And I was like, man, I don't even know what to say to this guy. First of all, he's French, so I don't know. I don't speak French. I was like,
Yeah,
I was like,
he
"This
didn't
is
really
super
speak great
cool."
English back then.
Yeah. But I was just like, man, keep doing. He's like, hey, what's up, man? Give me a bro down. I was like,
Yeah.
that's cool. I'm like,
Do you have a picture?
This is before like
Oh, this
the
is before
cool camera
cell phone?
phones.
Yeah, that's
Like
right.
I didn't have like all the good. I probably have like a picture on like my Nokia flip phone. You know,
Yeah.
it's not awesome, but yeah.
Nobody has those anymore. I kind of wish I had all the flip phone pictures.
I mean, that's something that we like to talk about, and that's something that happens to me, which I'm really grateful for a lot. But it's everybody's like, you remember that one night, you remember that one night with Geta, you remember that one night with Deadmau5. Everywhere we go, it's always that one night. So as we're doing these interviews, like, you have these years of hanging out, spending time together, going to the same events or whatever. But those instant moments, like the moment where you're up in the Beatport Lounge and I'm practicing, or that moment when you're sitting there just in front of an entire packed house and seeing David Guetta and you're as close to him as you are, Shawn. Like those to me are the things that are,
which is also a privilege, by the way.
I feel pretty cool just sitting between you guys right now. Like, that's awesome.
That's so memorable. It's like how you can have all these nights and all these foggy memories, but you remember that one moment, and that will last for you forever. And that's a lot of times it changes people. Like, and when I was at Beta, one of my, I don't know where I came up with this, maybe it was at the church, but I would always try to grab one person and give them an unbelievable experience that no VIP could ever buy. And
you definitely did that.
Sometimes it would be, a VIP came in and somebody referred a friend, or sometimes it would just be somebody that I would just start talking to at the bar.
Yeah, and come with me.
But every night, I kind of had a goal of I want to change this person's life and perspective forever. Yeah. And it works every time, because you get this close to a DJ, you get to press the button on the cryo machine. You get to walk back.
I got to do that with Paul Oakenfold. You let me do that. That was really cool.
That was a pretty awesome experience. I remember when I got to push the button too. That thing awesome. Just really launched the club.
Well, especially when it would load, because we had four blasts.
Oh, it was great.
And so they would have to go about 100 feet. So when you would load it, it would be like... It was like a jet engine was going, and I was like, you can't press the button yet. You got to wait until it starts steaming off the back.
Good luck telling me. I'm back there sweating in my sport coat with a bottle of Belvedere in my hand. Like, why press the button?
And you're just like, and then you press the button.
Mike McRae's like, not yet.
Wait. And it's like one of those things. Every single time we hit the cryo button, every single time crowd goes, never ever lost its appeal.
No, it definitely. I mean, if you did it right, we should have cryo right here.
Let's go. Where's that at? We need to put that. That's on us. We'll take care of that deal.
That's awesome.
I can't. Yeah, I mean, there's. I mean, that's the ones that really stick out are those ones. But I mean, I had just a great time coming in there so many times.
Yeah. Did you saw us in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
So what was that like?
Well, yeah, after
Excess or Rain?
Yeah, Excess.
I saw you guys in Rain. I actually drove out to see you guys in Rain.
Nice.
Yeah. Inside the Palm.
Yeah.
We just aged ourselves, by the way.
The first Real World was shot there too.
I think it was the second.
Whatever.
We're a little old now. We're still alive though. So
I mean, we're not old. I mean, bro, we're in our prime right now.
That's right. But yeah, we I'd sold obviously the real estate, so we got into marijuana, and I got one of the first marijuana licenses in Vegas. In fact, the first one, MMJ America, and so it was you couldn't drive between the airport and the Strip and not see our logos on 10 different billboards on the way there. And it was great because you guys had blown up at that point, and so it was like. We'd come out there and be like, people like, you actually know those guys? And I'm like, yeah, this is pretty cool.
I can text Brad right now.
I was kind of, I'm like, I would feel bad like using that status to try to do that, but I tried to abuse it a few times. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah,
I just met them and I'm starting to abuse it.
It's there to abuse. I mean, come on. We actually like you guys. It's not really abuse. It's the friend you haven't seen in 5 years that texts you when you have your biggest show, and they're like, "Hey, with all dudes."
Still to this day, don't show up with. I'm married, and I'm like, listen, bring all, my wife. I'm like, listen, you got to bring all your office.
I mean, you
friends
learned this from UNC vinyl. Like this is etched in your DNA at a very young age.
It's free for girls and $100 for guys.
Yeah, exactly. Always bring cash. And always have a couple girls with you. I don't care if you're married, have your wife bring some friends. That's what you do. That's how you get in.
So what was it like? What did you think of I mean, you spent time in Vegas, but when you saw us at XS,
well, I mean, first of all, that's just a crazy venue. Yeah. I mean, for those people that haven't been to that venue, XS is I mean, that's
all in the name, isn't it?
That's the Vegas venue, man. So yeah, it's wild, man. It's unbelievable, and it was cool because it's like a sense of pride for me when I'm seeing you guys up there, and I didn't really know you all that well back then. I knew Brad, and it's like, so I've seen him kind of come up, and it's like, man, when I'm like those are people from Colorado up there just representing. And it's like, it's cool because like I feel like at that moment I was representing in Vegas big time, and it was like, man, we're bringing Colorado vibes out here to this whole situation. Because when we'd roll into those things, I'd have staff with us, investors, whatever it was, and it's like, yeah, man, like we know these dudes. Like, this is pretty cool. And then it's like, then the tab comes at the end of the night. He used to kind of help me out with the tab a little bit at beta, but the one at XS those hit a little different.
Yeah, like, oh, you own the marijuana license. Here. Give him the extra tabs.
Like, big deal. Here you go. Here's a big deal tab. $10,000. Like, wait a minute. What?
You're like, all right, we need 3 credit cards. We're only going to limit to 3,500.
Hold on, guys. Hold on. Don't leave.
Yeah.
Don't leave.
Before you could steal people's wallets and phones.
And this is before like Venmo and all that kind of stuff. You're like, bro, don't leave. I see you leaving.
No, yeah, totally.
You go to the bathroom when the lady walks out of the tab. I see people leave for the bathroom. No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
then I'm always the guy. I'm like, I'll take care of it. You get the next one.
And then you regret it. You're like, oh.
God damn it.
I just remember the vodka was like, when we first started going there, it was like $300 a bottle.
Oh, yeah.
$400 a bottle. Then $500 a bottle. Now it's like, you can't
$850.
Now it's like
it's $2,000 just for the table and a 3-bottle minimum at $500 a bottle. Yeah.
So, like,
but it was like a beta, man. It was like $250 a bottle. I was like, dude, we could do this a lot.
Yeah, we never really stuck it to people. Like, it was
that was
kind
great.
of a big deal. Like, we wanted to be.
Yeah.
We just wanted you guys to come.
Yeah. No, I was like, those tabs were realistic. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. But yeah, no, those were great days. I mean, you guys were in your glory days. I mean, it's like all of a sudden I'm looking at Brad's profile on the manufacturer Superstars, and here you guys are, like the picture coming from behind you and like 200,000 people. Yeah, you're like, what is happening, dude? This is crazy. Like, I mean, it's got to be like how people. It's like those people you just like you want to cheer for them. You're like, it's freaking awesome.
Thank you. I mean, it's nice to want to be cheered for, actually.
And how I imagine people cheering for like NWA when they were coming up. If you were from like from those areas,
or Eminem, we were cheering for.
But it's like I know these guys. Like, yeah, this is great, man. These guys are actually cool dudes. Like,
so as everybody knows, like this, you are our first guest as we're starting the infancy of this podcast. This is our second episode, kind of third. But one of the other things that we wanted to cover is like we always kind of talked about doing like a throwback versus throw forward. We kind of talked a lot about throwbacks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Over the last 20, 30 minutes. But I know you're still obviously inspired by dance music and going out. I know you just went and saw the Tiesto show, and I know that Brad was there. Maybe you guys could share some of your experiences about what that was like at Red Rocks, seeing, one of the GOAT. Let's just say it, like the GOAT of dance music.
Well, it's his birthday today, so shout out to
Tiesto.
Tiesto, happy birthday.
He's not the GOAT, I call him the king.
Thanks for all
he's the king.
He's
for all the great times,
I think that was
buddy.
his first headlining solo long performance show ever at Red Rocks, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, what was that like for you guys? Because I sadly got sick and didn't make it. I remember you were texting me, and I was like, I was going to come.
Why you guys not coming?
But Brad was there, yeah.
Well, I wasn't going to come, and then I came last minute, and so I was really happy that I did.
Yeah. I went with some really great neighbors and family friends of mine, Chris Brock and Kim Brock. They live. You met them
at the
birthday party. They're our neighbors on that lake, and his buddy Reza, who's my buddy too. So it was just the four of us.
Yeah.
And the concert was so good. The next thing you know, we're at they're basically our next door neighbors. It's like 4 a.m, which is just rare for me. And it's like 4 a.m, and we're still at Chris and Kim's house, and we're still listening to Tiesto music. And my wife's texting me like, "Are you coming home tonight?"
She didn't go with you.
No.
Okay.
And I'm like, "What time is it?" I look down. I'm like, "Oh my god." I'm like, "Guys, I gotta go."
So flash forward, you still get lost in the music.
Yeah,
I guess it's a good recap.
100%. It was an amazing concert. First of all, it's Red Rocks. I'd never been to a wintertime concert at Red Rock, so that was cool.
Yeah.
Like everybody bundled up, but nobody cared. By the time we got about 2 songs into his set, you look back on the crowd, and it was just the crowd was just moving.
You didn't realize it was 20 degrees out.
Yeah.
No, but it was a nice night.
Yeah, okay,
It was
pretty nice.
and it was a full moon, which was really cool.
It was awesome.
Brett, what is that like for you to be on stage and then you're at a show like that? Are you more critical of it? Do you experience it differently than you would as someone just in the crowd?
I have a lot of appreciation because I'm really good friends with his team. So, I'm good friends with Tice. I'm really good friends with Paul Morris, who's his agent, and BAÖ Basic, who's from Denver, who really handles a lot of his music and production. And BAÖ kind of working with Tiesto and his whole team building that show. So I have a lot of pride and I know how much work it is, like even for this team, like to do a 4-hour show with visuals, lasers, and it's a unique venue because it's not stadium seating, but it goes up so high. It's not like when Tiesto plays for 50,000 people and it's all flat. Like when at Red Rocks, it's different when they're like you really feel like the crowd's on top of you.
Yeah.
And to design the production around that, and like I said, his music is. I think he's just as on top of his game as he is, and playing all those classic tracks, and integrating it. So
yeah, I mean, it's rare that you call me afterwards and we're like, bro, the show was insane. Like, I was actually when I was like, damn it, I should have just actually.
And for him to be this far into his career, like, and to have that much pride and to be. Like we know what's good. Like I know good production. I know good sound.
Yeah.
It was really like, he exceeds. I say in life, it doesn't happen that much in our life where something actually exceeds your expectation, where you go to a restaurant and the food's actually better. You go to a game and the game's actually better.
Yeah.
You go to a club, and so it goes back to those moments in time.
Yeah. You're 100% right.
And
that show hit different.
Yeah.
It was a throwback though. It had all the good feels from that classic Tiesto.
But he played like 5 or 6 hours.
It was
right?
4 hours.
Yeah, 4 hours straight, man.
It was,
he did not come off the ones and twos. I was like, man, this is awesome.
And just knowing, like, Shawn and I never really played more than 2 hours. Like,
well, XS we'd play 3 or 4 sometimes.
A few times, but it's really mentally exhausting. To be like. There was no dancers. There was no...
And the preparation that goes into that. I mean, obviously, if he's going to play all the classics and they're all reworked, I'm sure, you know what I mean?
There was fire and lasers, but it was him on a 300-foot stage. Kanye was one of the only other people that I've seen that it didn't have any backup dancers or nothing. It was just him on stage, and he rocked it the whole time. Like, Tiesto rocked that show.
I believe it's actually available now on something. I just saw it
it's on VR.
It's on a VR
I'm gonna have to get
experience. I actually might try to do this. Maybe I'll relive it in my Apple Vision this weekend.
It's
like a meta VR experience. Like they just released it like a few days ago. I saw them post it.
It was pretty surreal for me too because it was really neat. I live in that area, and so we got there really early. So we got just wanted to.
I remember you texted me. You're like, I'm 4th row right up. Like I'm literally like I'm right here. I think you even texted a picture. You're like, come right here. I'm
like, yeah, I will buy you drinks all night. Let's go. But no, it was. I looked down and you see C470 right there, and we had a great view of it. I actually shot a really good video and put it up on the I'm from Denver network.
Yeah.
And it was this just traffic jam. It was like the you ever see the movie Field of Dreams at the end when all the cars are waiting to like it was great because you could literally just see them all coming in.
Yeah.
And it was like this is like pretty surreal right now. Like this is all happening. So it was, and then it's like you literally like 20 minutes later, it went from being about 1/4 full to just packed.
Yeah.
And people just and everybody was cool, man. There were no pushing around, no shoving. It was just a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was a great show. And then you came to our famous Christmas party.
Oh, we talked about that Christmas party on the last episode.
Yeah, but
that was fun.
He went to it.
I want to hear about it.
That was different, man.
Because remember, I read the list of the 40,000 square foot house with all of the amenities.
60,000. 60,000. Yeah, that was. The bowling was awesome. The flamethrower was crazy. The thing that had me though was the indoor gun range. this guy, I'm not gonna say a name, but this family, this person has the craziest shooting range. Now I have a lot of guns. I've been to a lot of shooting ranges. This thing was incredible, and the arsenal that he has is like. Stuff happens, I'm going to that house. That's for damn sure. I've got my own stuff, but this guy's got some stuff. And then it was then
we
it's
had a
like
Navy SEAL like running.
oh yeah, the Navy SEAls are like walking you through training.
Did he have an outdoor fire pit with a lowering mechanism like you had?
I didn't see that. Yeah, maybe. Well, we need to talk because he needs that. But the one thing that I love is I was a sports guy. You guys are sports guys. The indoor tennis arena. And when I say arena, it's got its own spectating balcony. I mean, like you could be up there sipping martinis, watching, and he had professional tennis players there, playing a match with each other, but then also playing with the guests, which was really cool. Had their own pickleball courts, obviously, indoor beach volleyball courts.
Sand in the house.
No, it was badminton, but we had our bounce volleyball. So
yeah.
There's so much stuff he's not even right. So it was,
I didn't even see half the stuff because we were like,
is this the first annual Christmas party now?
Yeah, I think we might probably do another one, but we're going to make it really hard for people to get invited back.
It is the most impressive home I've ever seen in my life.
And the party was like,
the party was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody was super chill.
Did you bring girls?
Brought my wife.
No, this was
like invite only.
Yeah, this was invite only.
Brad was like, bring people. Good people.
This was anti-Diddy. Like this was no drugs, no girls.
No girls.
We kicked people out.
Oh, you did?
At midnight.
Yeah.
The party started at 5 p.m. We were going the anti-Diddy route. All the after hours that we have ever been part of. This is not that.
Party. It was not that party.
And I have a lot of respect for professional everything. Everyone's like, oh, DJing's so easy. Like being a professional DJ is really hard. Professional basketball player, how good they are. Professional golfer compared to us, like hacking around.
Oh yeah.
I've never seen a professional tennis player like I'm as close to him as Shawn, and doing 130-mile-an-hour serve.
Yeah, that's real.
Is unbelievable.
And everybody's standing right there, and you're like, man, if one of these guys misses, someone's going to get sniped.
Someone's going to get we're right on the bait. We're right on the edge, and it's like it doesn't. Like when you see the golfers when there's like just people, like if they shake
I would be so nervous if there was that many people down the side when I'm golfing. I'm like, man,
oh god,
somebody's dying today.
Yeah. But to see a 130-mile-an-hour serve and see somebody actually return it.
Yeah.
They really do 130?
Oh, man. It's like bullets coming off those rackets, man.
I mean, you can't even really, like, when you're going back and forth, it's like you can't move your head.
It's impressive because
I thought it was like 110, 130. Wow.
Because we're so
those
close.
serves are real.
Like, we're right there, like, kind of where the ball boys are. So, like, even when you're at the U.S. Open, you're back a little bit so you can see when you're literally, like, on one side of it, like, it's hard to follow.
Well, it's funny because I brought the president of the Hispanic Chamber, Mike Ferrafino. He's like an avid tennis player, so he's chomping.
Did he get out there?
He's chomping at the bit. He's like, I think I can get out there. I'm like, please do. I really want to see this right now.
Did anybody return a serve?
I think some people did.
Yeah, I mean,
he did get out there. They played a little bit of tennis. At that time, I was down there with the professional bowler, though.
Yeah,
so I didn't get to see all that. But the bowl. Learning from the bowler was actually really fun too. That was a good time.
Did he show you how to get the spin on?
He did. Yeah. I still don't do
just
it.
2 fingers?
Yeah, I was like doing the one finger. I'm like, dude, I don't have like all the wrist protection and all that.
He had those little dumpy fingers.
Yeah. Well, you look like the dude today. He's got the dude, so he's like, man, the dude abides, man.
I think it was really cool too, like to be trained by a professional bowler to hit, Ha, and a lot of our friends were like, hitting back and forth with a professional, and just like the little pieces of advice. I think it's a cool thing.
Did Ha get in there too with the
yeah they were hitting for a long time.
Wow, okay.
Is Ha like a tennis star?
Oh, Ha played tennis in high school.
Okay.
Yeah,
I did too, but
I saw him in there, and I knew he was like pretty into it and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean he was pretty focused on the tennis the whole time.
Yeah.
But even like when we're giving DJ lessons, like to give you a little a little trick of the trade, with a little loop thing. I think it's always fun to be able to like see that. And then the 12-year-old, just pounding everybody in ping pong was just he didn't lose. Like, I mean, he's just
Who's the 12-year-old?
He's one of his kids.
Well, yeah,
Oh,
one of
really?
his
He's a
kids,
professional
and he's
ping pong player?
Yeah.
just crushing.
Yeah. They were
Although
all the kids were like good athletes.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've seen them all
They
the
were
time
all
at the
really
Nuggets
well
games and
mannered. I
stuff,
mean,
yeah.
it was a very nice family.
And they had people at the squash court. So
They're tall, too.
all even like the 12-year-old was taller than me. I was like,
all the squash players, like everybody had somebody to play with,
Yeah.
which I thought was really that was a really good touch. But I was super pumped you came, and I always try to tell people, I was like, hey, if I invite you, you really should show up because you don't really want to miss. I'm not like inviting people for my health.
It was awesome. And I mean, that's just one of those experiences you don't see a home like that too often. I mean, we all live pretty cool lifestyles. That's a pretty cool lifestyle.
That is a good deal. If you get an invite from Brad, show up.
100%.
He would actually literally be like, I'm like, oh, do you ever have people over for dinner? He's like, no, I own a bar and a nightclub. He goes, I have my friends there. The house is for me.
I've been to Brad. I think we've been to Brad's house like twice.
All pre 5 p.m.
Or really, really late.
Yeah, or it's like, can you come pick me up? And we're going
Or like, we're up there like listening to because he's the new the
Sacred Society.
Oh man, we were up there doing that one night, and I was like, okay, man. Like now I'm in this totally chill vibe. And he's like, you want a drink? And you get that big Magnum that we accidentally exploded in your kitchen. I'm like. Oh, great. That's not awesome.
What was a Magnum of what?
Champagne.
Champagne, yeah. I mean, I don't keep very much booze at my house either, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, there was people like, oh, man, like, I'm sorry I couldn't come. I was like, that's on you. Like, I gave you an opportunity to see something that you probably will know, and if you didn't come last year and I invited you, I'm probably not inviting you this year. So it's more on you.
So those of us that showed up, good job. You know who you are.
But I was like, I get to go and hang out with the tennis players whenever I want.
They're my tennis players.
They're James's tennis players. I mean, I think we're going to try and get some really cool guests that have a lot of impact on the things that we really like. And again, I think we're going to go back to this moment that kind of inspired you, this moment that changed you, this moment that in the past that you won't forget. What are you looking forward to in the future? I think that's what this is about. This is about kind of bringing the community together, using our relationships to be able to do that and do it in a hopefully entertaining, lots of laughs, lots of smiles, lots of this is really cool, and and what the future looks like with the things that we're working on is really fun and interesting. All this cool technology, the innovations in we got to get out to the Sphere and see the damn show. Like,
you guys need to go out and play the Sphere.
Yeah,
that's a show I'm going to.
I mean, it's just where we're at with Tiesto's VR show at Red Rocks, to what Anima's doing at the Sphere, to what we're doing with our Dolby Atmos, to what we're doing with our DJ, relaunching our DJ career. Like, the future is really cool, and it's cool to be able to share it with people that we have good relationships with.
Yeah, so I think over the next few weeks, we're going to be booking or having guests, DJs, music producers, and other people in the industry, visual lighting designers, stage designers, festival entrepreneurs, and starters. So, we're excited. We got a good list of guests. We don't want to tell anybody about them, who they are just yet, but we will have guests weekly.
They're going to be
next week.
pretty awesome.
As we build up and, work through all that.
Well, and it's awesome for us, and for just because of obviously our relationship and our history, to be producing this show, which is an honor, frankly. I know Wiggs and I are beyond excited for what we're doing here. This thing is going to be amazing, and I think there's just so many stories out there that people are going to be able to relate to, and there's so many familiar faces here. I think it's going to spawn really good memories and really just keep this part of the music industry in people's hearts and souls, because it's amazing.
So we will bring guests of talent, music, DJs, artists, interesting people.
Yeah.
Record label owners, anybody that's got cool stories that can kind of really share.
And business owners,
aspirational.
We're pretty versatile, so we want to talk about a lot of different things.
Yeah, you guys aren't just amazing at what you do within making music, but you guys are pretty amazing entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I've done weed companies too, and Bounce Empire and nightclubs and all that type of stuff.
You guys have done a lot of that as well.
We never owned a Benihana's yet.
We spent a lot of money on
But I'm
Benihana.
not going to rule out that Brad might want to start a Benihana's.
Let's go. Listen, I got the inside track on that one. Let's do it.
So, I mean, we haven't done this yet, but I want to start doing it. Like, everybody knows that I'm kind of a sneakerhead. Sean's definitely getting into it. So let's kind of talk about the kicks that we have on today. Sean, what are yours? I know what those are.
These are like Air Max 90s, and I just picked them because they matched my outfit since they were all tan.
Limited edition snakeskin. Jake, you brought your A game on your shoes.
I did. I'm a closet nerd at heart. I love the Stranger Things. I'm a big fan
of Stranger Things.
So these are the official Hawkins High limited edition Stranger Things.
Those are a comfortable pair of shoes, that style. I have a couple pairs.
They
of
are.
them.
They're
so like
super
the old
comfortable.
throwback with the foam tongue.
Yeah. They're very comfortable. So yeah, I knew you guys were going to come strong today, so I want to make sure to put on something good.
So I'm going to give you guys one of my strategies so I don't like having people wear the same shoes that I do. So a lot of times when something comes out that's really popular, I get it, and then I don't wear it till another year. So these came out last Christmas. They're the Nike Dunk Boots high top.
Yeah, those are definitely badass.
And so I saw a few people wear them last year, so I had a cool pair of boots that I wore last year, and so this year I'm wearing these ones because now anybody that bought them last year, they're dirty.
Those are.
So that's my strategy.
Those are hitting, man. They're
That's my
definitely hitting.
strategy is if I'm gonna really like something, you gotta have patience. It's almost like you guys drink wine. I don't drink wine. I buy my shoes and let them sit for a year, and then I wear them. Especially the Jordans. Like I'm a big Jordan 11 guy,
Okay.
and so those are hard to get when they come out. They're usually limited edition, so I buy them usually 2 pair, and then sometimes I wait 2 years because if you buy a 220 pair of Jordan 11s, like there's a group of people, and they're the same type of people that like them.
I like it, man.
There's nothing worse than going to a club or someone and be like, I got my Ice 11s,
That 5 other dudes are wearing.
But now I got to
the
avoid
five
that
other-
part of the club all night.
So having the patience to let it marinate for a year is usually works good. And
You're a more patient man than me. I get wine and I drink it, first of all. Wine doesn't last long in our house. People with wine cellars, I respect, man. You guys have a lot of self-control.
You got to buy a lot.
Yeah.
I tried several times, and I'm like you, bro. I'd buy like 3 cases of a wine. I'd be like, "There's nothing in the house to drink. I guess we're drinking that."
That's what
Like, we're not gonna. They're like, I'm always like, that was expensive too.
So hey, now that we're all together, I want to drop a promo for the February 23rd party. Since we're all here, so
Ooh, that's gonna be a fun one.
So Sean and I are going to be launching a new single that's going to be based off one of our favorite tracks from the 90s. So what inspired us is there's a lot of we love 90s R&B, a lot of us from our era do. And we had a very popular mix CD called that was like a chill out R&B kind of hybrid.
Yep.
And so Sean and I are going to build a special set that's all R&B, all sing along. We're going to do this February 23rd at BAÖ. I'm from Denver, manufactured superstars, BAÖ Brewouse. Going to do a Sunday brunch kind of manufactured superstar style. So we're really excited for you. Your wife. I know your wife is a huge R&B fan.
I mean, she's huge R&B. I'm on the R&B side. I'm possibly a bigger fan.
So
Really?
Yeah. But she loves it, and all her
Plus,
friends.
who doesn't
love it.
like to drink during the daytime? I mean,
Yes.
if you get a Sunday brunch excuse,
You guys give us an excuse to drink during the day. I'm taking advantage. Yeah.
So
It's my 40th birthday too, so let's go.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Wow, all right.
We're going big, baby.
We're going big. So manufactured superstars R&B brunch February 23rd at BAÖ Brewouse. I'm from Denver.
Yeah, it will sell out
It will sell out.
because there's not a lot of. It's not we're limiting it to just the upstairs.
Yeah.
It's gonna
If
be
you haven't been
a
yet,
top
killer
end
sound
event.
system, killer DJ.
Yeah.
And we will be putting out the mix after the set because there's going to be a lot of there was a lot of babies made to our last chill out mix. I think there's going to be a lot of babies made to
Possibly made one of our kids out of that deal.
this one. Awesome.
We did brew a lot of babies, not our own, but
This is the Superstar Diaries podcast. Like and subscribe.